Hello Spider Peeps. Well, today I'm going to be looking at this microprocessor. In fact, it's a little bit more than a microprocessor. If we ignore this network socket on the end of it, it looks a little bit like a Pi Pico, doesn't it? I mean, here is a Pi Pico and it almost looks like it's pin to pin compatible. This has got an RP2040 chip on it. Actually, this has probably got the newer chip on it, and a Wi-Fi module. This hasn't. So this has got this rock chip on it, which is a system on a chip. To be honest, the 2040 is probably a system on a chip as well. But this is different because you can run Linux directly on this, whereas the Pi Pico, you are running MicroPython or a MicroPython interpreter and then putting code onto it that way. So it's a little bit different the way it works. And if you notice, this is actually more like a Pi Zero, because this little bit there is a SD card reader. So this is the LuckFox Pico. Yeah, that's a bit of a tongue twister. What are the differences? Well, we see it's got that system on a chip, it's got the SD card reader, this has got a USB-C on it. Also down here, it's got one of those little interfaces, which I can't remember what they're called, but that's so you can put a camera module on it, like you can on some ESP32s, and actually you can on the Pi Zero as well. On the back, it's got some memory on it. I think this one's got 128K on it. Now, a long time ago, on one of my videos, somebody just said, hey, why don't you use a LuckFox Pico? And I thought, what on earth's that? And I bought one at the time, and I've never played with it, but I thought this is something that I can use if it's got Linux on it, or if it's got some kind of Unix on it. It's something that I can use as part of my home lab. So let's see what we've got to do to set it up. Okay, so yeah, I've got to use one of these things. If you see on the screen, I don't use one of these very often. Now, just because it gave me the shakes to have to use a window machine, I'm using it on my Mac. But this is what we've got to do. So okay, so first of all, we've got to install the driver. So the LuckFox wiki has got all of these programs on, but it is a little bit fiddly to do it. So first of all, if you've got a Windows machine, and you can do this on macOS as well, because it works on Unix, but it just confused me. So I decided I'd do it on the old Windows machine that I have in the cave. So we install Driver Assistant first. Open that. It'll probably moan like Billy-O, because it will put loads of stuff on your machine. Yeah. Okay, so we hit install driver on there. Now I've already done it on this PC. And after you've installed it, you need to reboot your PC as well. Let's plug this in and see what happens. So when we plug in this vanilla out of the box machine, so we do get some lights on it. Can you see that? But I've got no idea what is on this. So see, there's some little twitch in there. I don't know whether that's a boot program. It's not like a flash program or a blink program, I don't think. Periodically that little light there will flash and it's not going. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so teeny little light on it. So notice we've also got boot and a reset on it. Okay, so what else have we got to download? Once you've installed the driver, download the firmware, and this is what this is, this LuckFox Pico Pro Flash. So this is the Pro version, which has got that on it, and I think there's a Pro Max which has got a bigger memory on the back of it. As micro SD cards have suddenly mysteriously gone through the roof, as well as RAM and storage, I thought I'd use this on it instead. So we're going to try and flash this directly as opposed to loading a SD card up. So we have to use this SOC toolkit, and I've downloaded the firmware and whatever on it there. So this is the bit now where it gets a bit confusing. So let's open this toolkit. All right, and you get this little thing pop up and you have to choose this RV106. Now this board is an RV106. Okay, so I set it to program with USB, and what we've got to do, and this is confusing, let's click on OK first. We've got to plug the power in while we're holding the boot until mask ROM appears here. All right, so I'm holding that down, the boot, Okay, so you may notice on the screen a subtle change from the last recording, and that's because my Cave PC died. The USB port stopped working on it, which is why I was plugging this in and out every 5 seconds and nothing was working. Okay, so now let's try it again. So I'll hold down the boot for a couple of seconds, plug that in, let it go, and there on the screen right away we've got the mask ROM. Okay, so we're in programming mode. Let's find the drive partitions for this. So if I go to search path now, and I've downloaded the Pico flash, so let's go into that one, select folder. Do you want to reload? Yeah. These are all the drives, I think, all the different drives that are going to go on this rock chip. So I think, what do we do? I think that's ready to go. That's clicked on reset. Let's click download, I think is what we do. Oops, no, checked item to download. Sorry, we have to select all of those and then go download. And wait for a few minutes while all of that goes down. So I replaced an old sort of Celeron mini PC with a i9 mini PC. It's about 7 years since I bought the first one, I think, and it was round about the same price. So this is what I have just as a ridiculous little window box for when I actually need it, and it also drives my laser cutter in the cave, so that's what I use this for. When I have to use Windows, this is what I do. Okay, so that's the download done. So now we've got to do the same thing for the firmware. The machine's rebooted itself now, so we've lost that connection. So I have a feeling, well, let's try just pushing the boot button. What happens? Does that do it now? No, so let's unplug it. Let's hold the boot in, push it in and let it go. I think that's what we do. Mask ROM appears immediately. So let's select the firmware. We have to select the update one, I think. That's it. So update, open. And then we hit upgrade there and it does a similar thing, I think. Yeah. There we go. And that should reboot. So I think the next job is going to be plugging a network cable into this and see if we can get into it. You can connect via ADB as a network point into that if I connected this directly to the Mac. If you're connecting it that way with ADB drivers, it's got a built-in IP address which is 172.32.0.93. But I want this just on my normal network. This is the same network that the PC I've been using is plugged into, and there's hardly anything in that network. So let me just go to the PC and type ipconfig. So this is 168.0.145. So I reckon this should be 146. So let's see if can I ping it. Does that work? Yeah, okay. So I'm getting a ping back. Hopefully it is from this. We've got no direct network telltales there, so we can't tell. So how do we log into it? We need to do secure shell. So let's do SSH. I think we have to use root for the username at 192.168.0.146. Let's see if that works. And then the password should be LuckFox. Okay, yeah, so it sets the fingerprint up, so let's just say yes so that we can use that. The password is LuckFox if I've got the right device. Yes. Okay, so nothing in there on the root. So where am I? PWD, anything in there? So I'm in the root, so let's go back one. LS, okay. I mean, I've got no idea what's on this file system. It's not in there. It's been a while since I've looked around a Linux stuff. CDU USR. It's been a while since I've been on a device that's not a Raspberry Pi, to be honest. So I'm expecting there to be a home somewhere. Don't know where it is. So maybe it's just that root folder. So let's go into that anyway. So CD root. Does that get me back in there? No, it's CD double dot. I should have done 2 dots. CD root. Okay, so I've got a connection to it and I can go around the file system. So I think what might be a cool thing to do is Let's see if we can get an OLED working on this. Now, I've not tried this before, but there is a piece of software that LuckFox do, which has got an OLED demo on it. So I've downloaded that. So let's, what is it? It's Control C to get out of that. No, exit, is it? To get out of shell. Yeah, it's exit. So on here, I've got a, can still use ls star.py. So I've got a, what am I on? Oh, I'm not on, I'm on a Windows box, even though I'm typing on a Mac. So star.py. So I've got this Python, which allegedly will run on the LuckFox. So I've downloaded that from their site. So I need to do a similar thing, but I need to do SCP into this, I think. So it goes SCP root, same IP address. Okay, I've done that wrong. I think actually, no, I've got to do it first, haven't I? I've got to SCP. I've got to do the ages since I've done this. So OLED, that's it, .py. Oh, the other's gone. Root. And then I think I have to do the directory, so it's just going to be root, and it should put it there. Let's try a trailing slash, see if that works. Should system cannot find the path specified. Ah, no, I think I've got to do this. Oh, yeah, looks like it. Connection refused. Okay. I've done the IP number 46. Trying to obviously send that into the router by accident. Let's try this password. Okay, and it was LuckFox again. So that should be there. So if I connect to it again now, can I put the password in here? I think I can. If I do that and LuckFox, does that automatically do the password? No, I don't think that'll work. Oh, it did. So ls, is that in there? Yeah, so I've got the Python file on it. Right. Will Python run though? I don't know. All right, so let's see whether this has got Python built in. So let's go Python 3 and then OLED. So will this work? Okay, I think that's good. Right, so it's not working, but that's because I don't have an OLED screen fitted into it. Right, so let's try that next. So back to the desk. All right, so I can never find my old breadboard, so I bought some of these from Ali. Don't know whether they're any good or not, MB102s. Okay, so hopefully this has got the software running now if I've still got the shell open. So this works the same as a Pico, so it should be pin compatible, but I've got no idea whether this will work. Let's do ground first. So I've got a black for that. So ground should be the third one down. Don't know whether this will work if I push through here. Not sure. Be red, which is the 3.3 volts out, 25 and 24. So this is going to be the fourth up from the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the data, and then next to that is the clock. Right, so here's my beautiful little box of OLEDs. I don't know what size this is going to be, but let's grab this one. This is definitely a I2C one. So let's plug him in there. It's the first one, ground. And then voltage is the next one along. It wants clock first. That's come out now. That's very good. So let's put clock in there, and then data as the last one. I don't know what this program's doing, whether this will actually work, but I'm going to push this forward slightly to try and make sure it's all connected. That's not on. It's not hot. Okay, no such file or directory / dev I2C3. Okay, so it mustn't have the I2C libraries on it. Okay, so I've changed the display. I've got it working now. So let me show you the bit that I discovered. So if we go to LuckFox config, this is a bit like Raspberry Pi config, but it only has a limited amount of things. Now I'd just gone into compatible devices and looked at Pico OLED and thought that was all we had to do. but it wasn't. So what we have to do is make sure that these pins are configured correctly for the correct devices first, because these are all multifunctional pins, and that's the bit that I hadn't done. So go to advanced options and we can go down to SPI down here, and then you see it's got this SPI bus, so SPI 1, and that wasn't turned on. Click OK to turn it on and do enable, and OK, and let's set it to 100,000, and then if we come out of that, I'm using the mouse, so I shouldn't be using the mouse here. Then we can run this I2 detect. It's saying look for stuff on bus 3, and we see we've got that 3C there on there, so it's definitely bus 3. The device address is 3C, so we had to check that in the code. So I've pushed some code up to here, and if I now run the original code that I put on there, it's still not working properly. So let's come out of that, and then let's run some code that I wrote myself. Let's do that, and there we go. There's the OLED working. So the code that they gave us was for a different type of display, I think it was a grayscale display, and it just would not work. Then I've got a little bit of Python code which goes off and gets the IP address of the device and displays it on the screen. So if nothing else, what I've done is done a little network detector or subnet detector. I could turn this into a device where I could just plug this into random networks, and if the network gave me an IP when I plugged it in, I could see straight away what the IP was. So I can make a little device with this LuckStar to do that. This is a standard Raspberry Pi pinout, so I think it might be nice if I did a little cat that fitted on there, which would mount this OLED screen on it. I might do that in another video. I might put my code somewhere on my GitHub if anyone's interested in using this on a LuckFox Pico. So there you go. I tried out a LuckFox Pico. Interesting little network device, and I think it's going to be good just sitting in my home lab as another device in the home lab that I can maybe run something on it. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Bye.